Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner Classic. This is episode 23. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
And hello, I am Miles P. McLaughlin.
And if you've never joined us for a classic, what we do is we take interviews that we've released, maybe 2 years ago, and they've been a part of like a whole show, the Sci-Fi Diner regular show, so there's a lot of news and trivia, and a lot of the news really becomes dated fast, Miles.
True.
Yeah, and so what we do is we strip out all the stuff and we give you just the interview. And tonight we have a very special interview. Who are we interviewing tonight?
Ms. Catherine Hicks.
And how would people know Catherine Hicks? I mean, that's a name that not many people know these days.
Well, if you watched Seventh Heaven, and that show was on for a good many years, she played the mom in that show.
Right.
But if you remember, if you think of Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, she was she played sort of the love interest for Captain Kirk in that movie. She played the whale biologist, and she was also in the first Chucky movie, too.
She was?
Yes, she was in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and...
You did this interview by yourself,
This was my first solo interview, and so I was a little concerned how that went, but fortunately my interview subject was a pure gem. I mean, she was just fantastic.
Yeah.
She's just a very lovely, sweet lady. Fascinated by the whole podcasting thing. I mean, she, our little recorder, she kind of, was... intrigued by that, and so she, so very unassuming lady. I mean, I think she was kind of surprised that people might still be interested in what she's doing. But I went to her session the Friday night, fell in love with her. She was just fantastic.
Miles, you just said that in the podcast that you fell in love with her.
Well,
what's Katie going to say?
In the same sense that Katie is in love with, Christopher Hemsworth.
Okay. All right.
No, she was, again, fantastic lady, fantastic interview.
And the crowd, she did really well at Shortly. Crowds loved her there.
If I remember correctly, the crowds loved her so much they bought all her pictures.
Yeah, she sold out. She had to get more, I think.
They had to buy them from the vendors. I mean, she was a huge hit at Shore Leave that year, and so, can't say enough good things about her.
Awesome. Well, we're here. We're going to bring you that interview from Shore Leave 32. This is Catherine Hicks from Star Trek: The Voyage Home.
Hello, sci-fi fans. This is Catherine Hicks, and you're listening to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast.
And don't jerk me around anymore. I want to know how you know that.
We can't tell you that. But if you let me finish, I can tell you that we're not in the military, and we intend no harm towards the whales.
Then what do you...
In fact, we may be able to help you in ways that, frankly, you couldn't possibly imagine.
Or believe, I'll bet.
Very likely. You're not exactly catching us at our best.
That much is certain.
I have a hunch that we'd all be a lot happier discussing this over dinner. What do you say?
You guys like Italian?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
No. Yes.
No.
Yes. I love Italian. And so do you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it takes a special person who could do horror classics, Star Trek, and a long-running successful family drama and do it well. We are speaking with such a person today, the lovely Miss Catherine Hicks. Miss Hicks, welcome and thank you for taking time to talk with us on the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm very baffled and mystified by how you reach so many people on the computer, because I haven't entered that world yet.
We've been very fortunate. We get about an average of 600,000 downloads.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right. It's, the internet's allowed
Yeah, internet's good.
amateurs like us to do this thing.
Yeah.
I had a chance to watch your Q&A session yesterday, and loved it.
Thank you. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I don't know. You just go out there and hope you'll think of stuff.
I think everybody loved it.
I think so too. Thanks.
Star Trek: The Voyage Home is considered a favorite among fans. What was it like working on Star Trek 4 with?
Well, what was fun for me is that I didn't know anything about Star Trek. I didn't watch the series. I don't know, I was in school or something, So when I went to audition, I read the script and I thought, this is a great role. It's a Star Trek movie, but I love this character and that she loves the whales. And so I really worked hard, and I auditioned with Leonard Nimoy, and I didn't know what a transformer was. I was reacting to something real tall and sparkly, and he was like, wait a minute, what do you think a transformer is? I said, I don't know, like a big Christmas tree. He said, no, and he went over to his desk and pulled out this little thing. And so, it was all a big discovery for me, and I think it worked for the character because she didn't know anything either.
Oh yeah, she was totally innocent.
Yeah, and I think that was actually good that I didn't have to pretend that I did not know what was going on. Like I said to Bill and Leonard before a take, where we beam up, I said, what should I be playing here? What does it feel like to beam up? And they said, it tingles. So, just fun stuff like that, like in Wonderland. I felt like Alice in Wonderland.
What was Leonard Nimoy's directing style?
He was very calm. He's very calm, very intelligent, very gentle man, very wise. So it was very, deep and calm.
Now, you told a great story about how you kind of take your life in your hands to film this one scene. I know you already told that story yesterday, but for the sake of our listeners, can you tell that again?
Oh, well, when I bump into the invisible spaceship, nobody knew how we should do it, so they thought, well, tie a rope around her, and then when I come to the end of my rope, I'll naturally be pulled back, and it'll look like I just ran into something. Well, I got nervous before the take, and I wrapped the rope around my finger, and so instead of my waist getting the full thrust of whatever my weight times my velocity was, my finger got it, and it was it could have come off, but it didn't, and we stopped, and everybody tended to it, and I ended up playing it. I said, let me try one take where I just stop myself, and that's the one they used. So we didn't need to do the rope at all.
It's amazing how we as the viewers don't know how often you actors have to take your life in your hands sometimes when you film something like that.
Well, yeah, like my first job after New York, I was doing a TV movie with Steve Guttenberg, and they had me dive into a lake, and no one had checked it. It was 1 foot deep, but it was all mud, so I didn't hurt myself. But if it had been rock, I would have been dead. I would still say that they don't protect actors. It's you gotta really protect yourself on a set.
I heard while you're filming a scene with William Shatner, you did a little improv that kind of surprised him a little. Can you tell us what happened there?
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just thought we had been through so much, and I had felt that it was a romance in a way, that I definitely, the dialogue, it was written very sort of sweet and flirty, and we both shared the poetry of William Blake, and I just, I thought I should kiss him goodbye. I thought we should kiss. So I put that in where I kiss him and whisper in his ears. I wanted something to be sort of sexy and close.
Hence the surprise. Remember,
yeah,
surprised at the end.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't see it coming, but I know the actor in him thought it was a good choice.
I think it was too. After the movie, you took up the cause that your character was taking on.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I didn't want to be just this actor who's like talking about the whales while the movie's being promoted and then do nothing. So I joined with Greenpeace and spent a couple of years actively helping. They're a great organization. And, really, killing whales was on the decline because of all the protests around the world, largely due to Greenpeace. And now, as people probably know, it's very shocking, but, killing whales is back again. It's back on the upswing, and it's just unbelievable to me.
I don't think we know what's going on. I mean,
no, they like it in Japan. They make money off it. It's a delicacy, and I would suggest always, like when I work for Darfur, if you send $10 to Greenpeace, it'll really help. If anyone there really wants to do something, it's hard to take time. It's hard, blah blah blah. But it's very easy to write a check and go online and find out Greenpeace, and the money really helps. It helps in Darfur when people send money to Catholic Relief Services or World Hunger. It goes to the camps and helps feed these people who are displaced. It's better to do something than nothing.
I'm glad you're saying something, bringing some awareness to this. I think it's something.
Well, it's one thing, to me, it's one thing to be aware, but in a way it's bullshit unless you do something to change the situation. And the easiest thing to do is write a check, and I think everyone can do that. We're not in dire straits. We're in bad situation now in America, but America's never as bad off as other nations.
Can you tell us what are the future projects we can look forward to seeing you?
Well, there's a bunch of independent movies I've done that I'm forgetting. I just finished 2 in Los Angeles. You'll have to. Don't they have something where you can look up my name?
IMDb.
I am what?
Internet Movie Database.
Oh yeah, that's it. Because I'm just blanking. I did one last week and the one week before. I have a Lifetime thing called Stranger with My Face, and a couple of webisodes. My name is Jerry. Other films. So I'm just doing whatever comes along. As long as I don't have to kiss a girl or take my panties off.
Right. I heard you say it. So yeah, I think this is a great story for our listeners. How you met your husband?
Well, another great role that came my way was playing this mom, and it was a horror film, but I was in denial. Like, I know it's a horror film, but I really want to play this role. And it was well written. We had a good director, great producers, and Chris Sarandon, who's like a very valid actor. And we were in Chicago doing all the scenes, between the boy and him and myself. And then they said, they reminded me, when we get back to LA, we're going to, then we're going to deal with the doll. And I was like, oh, great, Chucky. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So I go to set, and they say, there's Kevin Yeager. He created the doll. He's only 25 years old. I looked over, and I was like the cutest guy I've ever laid eyes on in my life. And I went, oh, my God. So every time Chucky came near me, Kevin would have to, put the bite marks on my arm or get the doll, and I would just get so nervous. And so I began to like Chucky very much, and we ended up at the wrap party. I said, I just couldn't. I will never see you again. We never even spoke, but I like your doll. And anyway, we got together, and I insisted he take my phone number, and we've been married 20 years this May.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I gotta tell you, when I saw Star Trek 4 for the first time, I saw it in the theater in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
And people in Brooklyn, New York are a little different than being in Pennsylvania. After they saw the movie, we all applauded.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. My dad's from Brooklyn. Bay Ridge, yeah.
My family too, Bay Ridge.
89th Street and Ridge Boulevard.
My family was living in the 70s. I have uncle lives on Shore Road.
Shore Road. Oh, know it well.
So, no, that's great.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time.